Interstellar didn't just take us to space. It took us through time, into black holes, across dimensions, and then slapped us with a dusty bookshelf and a ticking watch that emotionally wrecked everyone who dared to follow. Behind the physics and the poetry lies an even weirder story, the chaotic, obsessive, and surprisingly human journey that brought this sci-fi epic to life. So buckle up. These are 20 weird facts about Interstellar, plus one bonus that's even stranger than fiction.
It's an Indian surveillance drone. Solar cells power an entire farm.
What'd you do, Murph?
You're a well-educated man, Coop, and a trained pilot.
And an engineer.
The world doesn't need any more engineers.
Fact 1. Interstellar was originally Spielberg's movie. Before Christopher Nolan ever touched the script, Interstellar was in development under Steven Spielberg. In 2006, Spielberg was attached to direct a version of the film based on a screenplay by Jonathan Nolan, and it had aliens. Yes, seriously, Spielberg's version leaned more into classic sci-fi with a first contact twist. But when the project stalled due to studio shifts, it got shelved. That's when Christopher Nolan took over, scrapped the aliens, kept the emotional core, and reimagined the story into something far more grounded and infinitely stranger. Aliens out, black holes in, and history was made. Fact 2. The black hole was so accurate. It broke computers. You'd expect a movie black hole to be sci-fi nonsense, but Interstellar's black hole, Gargantua, was built using real physics. The production team brought in renowned physicist Kip Thorne to make sure it looked and behaved like an actual spinning black hole. The visual effects team spent months writing custom rendering code that accounted for how gravity bends light. The result was a black hole so realistic it took 100 hours per frame to render, and the images were so precise, Thorne ended up co-authoring scientific papers based on the movie's visual data. A Hollywood blockbuster literally advanced real science. Let that sink in. Fact 3. McConaughey took the role after a backyard chat. Matthew McConaughey didn't land the lead role through auditions, agents, or studio meetings. He got it after a quiet, casual conversation with Nolan on his back porch. According to McConaughey, Nolan came over, sat with him as their kids played nearby, and started talking, not about space or wormholes, but about fatherhood. Nolan described a man who loved his daughter more than anything, who was willing to risk the universe for her. No script, no details, just emotion. That's all McConaughey needed. He said yes, hopped aboard the Endurance, and delivered one of the most emotional performances in science fiction history. Fact 4. Nolan banned green screens again.
I mean, on my films, I try to shoot as much in camera as possible. On Interstellar, my last film, for example, we didn't use any green screen.
Christopher Nolan has a well-documented dislike for green screens, and Interstellar was no exception. Instead of filming the spaceship interiors with blank screens and adding space later, Nolan had giant LED walls constructed around the sets. These walls displayed pre-rendered visuals of planets, stars, and black holes in real time. So when Cooper and Brand looked out the window of the Endurance, they weren't imagining space, they were actually seeing it. This not only helped actors react more naturally, but it also allowed cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema to light scenes using the actual glow of Saturn's rings or the eerie shine of Gargantua. Fact 5. Hans Zimmer didn't know it was a sci-fi movie. When Nolan asked Hans Zimmer to compose the score for Interstellar, he gave him one sentence of instruction: write something about the relationship between a father and his child. Zimmer, thinking it was a family drama, composed a quiet, aching melody using pipe organs and soft piano. He had no idea it was for a cosmic sci-fi epic. Once the score was done, Nolan revealed the truth, but chose to keep Zimmer's emotional, stripped-down approach. The final score became a collision of human emotion and cosmic scale, using church organs to echo the weight of time and love across the stars. Fact 6. The robot was a real puppet, not CGI. Tars and Case, the blocky, oddly lovable robots, weren't CGI models pasted into scenes. They were fully operational puppets designed to move practically and controlled in real time by actor and puppeteer Bill Irwin, who also voiced Tars. Irwin walked behind the robot, operating its arms and joints using a system of pulleys and levers. In some scenes, his body was digitally erased, but the robot's movements were all real. The result? Tars had actual weight and presence, which which helped actors treat it like a real crew member, not a floating green tennis ball. Fact 7. The dust storms were made with real dirt. Those apocalyptic dust storms back on Earth, they weren't special effects. Nolan insisted on practical dust. To achieve the look, the production team used giant wind machines and a custom-made mixture of dirt, sand, and cellulose to blow through the air. The scenes were shot on location in Alberta, Canada, where entire sets were buried in dust during filming. The team even interviewed Dust Bowl survivors to accurately capture the look and feel of the disaster. So yes, those clouds of grit getting in everyone's eyes and mouths, totally real, totally gross. Fact 8. Anne Hathaway nearly froze in Iceland. Filming the scenes on Miller's Planet where the crew wades through ankle-deep water took place in freezing temperatures in Iceland. During one shoot, Anne Hathaway's spacesuit sprung a leak, soaking her in near-freezing water. She kept shooting for hours until someone realized she was on the edge of hypothermia. Nolan, known for keeping a tight schedule, had to adjust production to get her warm again. Hathaway later joked that she nearly died for Nolan, but at least it was a beautiful shot. Fact 9. The time dilation math checks out. The idea that 1 hour on Miller's Planet equals 7 years on Earth sounds like classic sci-fi exaggeration, but it's actually legit. According to Kip Thorne, the physics consultant and executive producer, gravitational time dilation near a massive spinning black hole like Gargantua would indeed make time stretch this way. The closer you are to an intense gravity source, the slower time moves for you. So while Cooper and Brand spent a short time on the water planet, 23 years passed for their crewmate Romilly back on the ship. The math is real, the heartbreak even more real. Fact 10. McConaughey's breakdown was 100% genuine.
She crashed it. She's okay though. Hey, Dad.
Say bye-bye, Grandpa. Bye-bye, Grandpa. So cute.
One of the most unforgettable scenes in Interstellar is when Cooper watches decades of video messages from his children after returning from Miller's Planet. What makes the scene hit so hard? McConaughey had never seen the footage before. Nolan wanted a raw reaction, so the first time McConaughey saw the adult Murph on screen and realized how much time had passed was during filming. That gut-wrenching reaction, the gasps, the tears, the collapse, wasn't in the script. It was pure instinct, and Nolan never asked for a second take. Fact 11. The farm was real, and the corn paid for itself. That dusty old farmhouse Cooper and his family live in, it wasn't a set on a soundstage. Nolan's team actually built it from scratch in the middle of 500 acres of real corn, which they also planted specifically for the film in Alberta, Canada. The corn wasn't just for show either. After filming Wrapped, the crew harvested and sold it, turning a profit. Yes, Interstellar is probably the only movie where the props were edible and profitable. In the middle of black holes and time loops, Nolan accidentally ran a successful farm. Fact 12. Cooper Station was named after Murph, not Cooper. At the end of the film, Cooper wakes up on Cooper Station, a massive orbiting space colony. The name feels like a tribute to the daring pilot who flew through a wormhole and survived a black hole. But it's not. Christopher Nolan later confirmed that the station is named after Murph, not Cooper. She's the one who solved gravity, cracked the equation, and gave humanity a second chance. In the end, the true hero isn't the one who flew away. It's the one who stayed behind and saved everyone. Fact 13. Nolan hid the ending from the studio. The ending of Interstellar, where Cooper falls into a black hole and winds up inside a fifth-dimensional tesseract communicating with Murph through a bookshelf, is one of the most mind-bending in movie history. And the studio, they had no idea what was coming. Nolan refused to share the full ending with Warner Brothers execs until late in production. He feared they'd try to simplify it, cut it down, or worst of all, explain it. He believed the Tesseract should be experienced, not understood, and judging by the stunned silence in theaters, he was right. Fact 14. Murph's bedroom was rebuilt from scratch. The final reunion between Cooper and his elderly daughter Murph takes place in a perfect replica of her childhood bedroom. preserved on Cooper Station like a time capsule, but that room wasn't recycled from earlier scenes. The original set had already been dismantled, so Nolan had the art department painstakingly rebuild it using old photos, reference footage, and set blueprints to match every detail, down to the dust on the shelves and the placement of each book. It wasn't just a room, it was memory, materialized. Fact 15, the watch was custom built and became a fan obsession. Murph's wristwatch is more than a timepiece. It's the heart of the plot, the device that allows Cooper to send quantum-coded Morse messages across time using gravity. The watch itself was custom built by Hamilton, a luxury watchmaker. Specifically for the film, it had a classic look, a legible second hand for the Morse signals, and enough durability to survive production. After the movie's release, fans begged Hamilton to release the watch. They eventually did, a limited edition Murph watch that sold out instantly. Because when a watch saves the world, people want one. Fact 16, Cooper and Murph never share the screen post-childhood. One of the most emotionally devastating aspects of Interstellar is how Murph and Cooper never appear in the same scene again after he leaves Earth. Jessica Chastain, adult Murph, and McConaughey, Cooper, filmed their scenes entirely separately. Their connection had to be sustained through messages, flashbacks, and silence. Yet it's their relationship that holds the entire movie together. It's a testament to their performances and Nolan's storytelling that a father and daughter who never physically reunite until the final minutes.
I'm here.
No parent should have to watch their own child die.
Still managed to be the emotional core. Fact 17, time was literally written into the set design. Nolan didn't just use time as a theme, he baked it into the scenery. Production designer Nathan Crowley added subtle details throughout the farmhouse that emphasized the passage of time. Clocks in every room, shadows tracking the sun, layers of dust settling thicker in each scene. Even the bookshelf became a physical timeline. One Cooper could literally push through to reach his daughter across dimensions. This wasn't just world building, it was time building. Fact 18, Kip Thorne had a scientific veto power to keep the film grounded in real science. Christopher Nolan gave physicist Kip Thorne unprecedented control, a science veto. If any part of the script violated the known laws of physics, Thorne could say no, and Nolan had to find a workaround. This is why the movie includes wormholes, gravitational time dilation, and black holes, but no faster than light travel, no sound in space, and no magical space fuel. It's still fiction, but it's fiction with a PhD backing it up. Fact 19, Hans Zimmer used a 1926 church organ to score Space. The haunting, booming organ that underlines the movie's most powerful moments wasn't a synthesizer. Zimmer used a 1926 pipe organ housed in London's Temple Church. He chose it because it sounded timeless, like something ancient and cosmic yet profoundly human. To emphasize emotion over spectacle, Zimmer stripped away orchestral fanfare and let the breathing of the organ carry scenes. You can feel it in your chest, especially during the docking scene. Space has never sounded so holy. Fact 20, a single line of dialogue inspired the whole plot. The line, "Love is the one thing that transcends time and space," sparked plenty of debate. Was it too sentimental for a hard sci-fi film?
Decade, who I know is probably dead. Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
But for Nolan, that line was the whole point. He wanted a story where science didn't erase emotion, but embraced it. Love, he argued, might not be measurable, but it's real and powerful and maybe even gravitational. In a movie full of relativity equations and quantum theories, that one line, delivered by Anne Hathaway's character, might be the most dangerous idea of all. Bonus fact, Nolan's son is in the movie, and the movie was made for him. During early classroom scenes on Earth, one of the children listening to Murph's teacher talk about moon landing conspiracies is Christopher Nolan's own son. It's a quiet blink and you'll miss it cameo. Uncredited, unannounced, tucked into the background like a whispered secret. But the connection goes deeper. Nolan has said that Interstellar was inspired by his desire to make a film for his children. Not a kid's movie, but a movie that asked, what would you want to say to your child if you could only speak once across time? That's why the story isn't just about science. It's about parenthood, legacy, and love. And why the most important message in the movie wasn't shouted across a galaxy. It was tapped out on a second hand, in Morse code, from father to daughter.
Hey, Dad. You son of a bitch. I never made one of these when you were still responding because I was so mad at you for leaving.
If you like this, hit like and subscribe. More wild movie facts are on the way.